So we have control over this whole process, and it comes with the square of health. And the square of health is nutriate, oxygenate, stress, and rest. And those are the 4 points of physical health, and you can apply them to any level you want. Nutriate, oxygenate, stress, and rest. Nutriate, respirate is probably better. Nutriate, respirate, stress, and rest. We talked about rest a little bit, and we really want to get over this idea that it's bad to rest. You know, take naps. Indulge, especially if you're not healthy. Understand that you're complicit in your disease state through your refusal or inability to relax. Did you understand what I just said? That's powerful, you guys. It's not to be lazy, it's to be healthy. It's not to be lazy, it's to be healthy. Whatever you could do, massage. If I'm president, everybody gets a massage once a week. That's my insurance policy. That's my insurance policy. And there'll be a lot of happy masseuses out there too, right? Yes, if we cared about health, who do you think Obamacare is benefiting? Who's making the money on Obamacare? Insurance companies, drug companies, HMO. Please, Dr. Wallach calls it, we're ATMs. We're ATMs. We're not as healthy as we should be, but here's what we have to own. You guys, it's not about passing the blame here. We got to take credit where credit is due and blame where blame is due. There's an inability that we have to relax because we think it's indulgent and lazy. Correct? We think there's something wrong with it. It's not. You're just taking you kick back, say, hey, I'm taking my medicine. Somebody says anything, you're sitting there doing nothing. Nothing. Zippo. You say, I'm taking my medicine. Leave me alone. I'm busy. I'm taking my medicine. Right? Anything wrong with that? Do I have any naysayers here? Anybody want to veto that? Okay. All right. I'm taking my medicine. And you relax. And you're accessing your parasympathetic nervous system. You're accessing the relaxation nervous system. Now, I said nutriate. I had till 8, right? All right. Nutriate. Can I get some water, by the way? I said nutriate, oxygenate, stress, and rest. Well, that's interesting, huh? We just said stress. What's up there? How interesting is it? Well, guess what, you guys? It turns out a little stress is good for you. A little stress. Little stress. You know, I used to work out all the time. I used to be a workout junkie. I like to work out, but then I got a life. And so I couldn't work out as much, you know. I got a job, I got a real life, so I couldn't be 3 hours in the gym. But what I found is, you guys laughing, you can relate, all right? But what I found is you don't need 3 hours in the gym. You don't. You need 10 minutes. If I get more than 10 minutes, I'm so ripped, it's embarrassing. I'm not kidding you. If I do this workout that I have and I do it for more than 10 minutes, it's embarrassing, and I don't like it already. I just want to be toned. I don't want to be all ripped. But if you do it correctly, in 10 minutes, you could be so cut up, you'll be embarrassed, or you want to show it off. You could be ripped. You could be super healthy from a muscular standpoint with just 10 minutes of stress a day, because the body needs intensity of stress quickly, not long-term drip, 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 drip stress. And I knew when I was in the gym, I was talking, and I was goofing around, I was working out a little bit, and I was goofing around a little bit more. I don't know if you can relate to that, but I was doing it all the time. And, you know, and then when I was on there, it was kind of leisure. You know, it was hard. I was definitely working out hard, but there wasn't this quick intensity. You want to maximize your workout, 10-minute workout? I could teach you how to do 2 curls. Obviously you're working out. I could teach you how to do 2 curls. You'll be crying. Because you see, when you do a curl, you're doing 100 movements, but you do them so fast that momentum does the work. You know what I'm saying? But these are all 1 zillion micro movements, infinite micro movements that will allow you to maximize that work. If you follow what I'm saying, is it making sense to you? Each little micro movement is a workout. So you'll only be able to do 1, but it'll really be a zillion. Get off the chair. You can do it off the chair. You can work your glutes. Amazing. Work your glutes. Just go take 60 seconds to stand up. You're super slow. Each one of those is a micro movement. You know? So you're going to show us how to do that? I'll show you how to do that before you leave. You want to do that? That's it. But the point, I'll show you, absolutely. The point I want to make is we need quick bursts of stress. It's how we grow. It's how we get better. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I was just talking to my friend about my childhood. I really, as a kid, to me, it was a really traumatic childhood. But I praise God for it. It made me so great. It made me so able to handle things and navigate the world. You know? When we have stress in our lives, we get carved. We become who we are through stress in our life, but it has to be intense, quick stress and then lots of rest to recover. We don't mind working, but we don't want to work 40 damn hours a week. If you only had to work 2 hours a week, you'd love it. And that's what we're supposed to do. Wouldn't you? They couldn't get you out of the office. Imagine, you're there for 2 hours a week, right? They couldn't drag you out of the office because you wouldn't be back till next week after 2 hours. I don't want to go. I'll work overtime, free. I'll work for free. When was the last time you said that? It's not that we don't want to produce. It's not that we don't want to work. It's that we don't want to work all the damn time. And our bodies are the same way. It's not like our bodies are, we're lazy. It's not that we don't want to do anything. We just don't want to do it all the time. We love bungee jumping. We love horror movies. We love thrills. I call it thrill-seeking behavior. People get addicted to it. There's hormones in place in your brain that are wired to make you better when you have when you engage in thrill-seeking behavior. In fact, thrill-seeking behavior is why we do things even though we're comfortable without them. Girls have this thing where I used to teach, I still teach classes for women in skincare. And I'll teach, 18, 20-year-old girls. I'm always cracking up because there's this thing that girls do. Girls can relate when they see a guy they like, and they're like, do all the things girls do. They write the notes, and they do the little winky, and they giggle to each other and do all the little girl things that girls like to do. And they're talking about some guy. Oh, isn't he cute? And oh, I hope he calls me. Well, I don't know what you guys do. It's that kind of stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay? So you probably still do it. You probably still do it. Okay? It's a girl thing. And then I always get a kick out because then I always notice, it's always like when that's happening, it's always exciting and fun. And then you get the guy and not so much. I mean, what happened? It's not the same, right? Right? That's just how it is. Because you see, when we're off on the hunt, when we're trying to get something, when we're trying to go somewhere, when we're hungry for something, pleasure hormones are secreted. Growth hormones are secreted. Joy and ecstasy and healing and health hormones are secreted. And not only are you not surviving, you're thriving. Not only are you not survival mode, you're in thrival mode. You're in big time mode. That's why kids do it. You notice how kids do it? They do crazy things. You ever think back what you did when you were a kid? Would you even dare even remotely contemplate today doing what you did when you were a kid? Because when you're a kid, you're in that mode. You're plugged into that growth mode, which is tied into the seeking and stressing and hunger and movement and dynamism and action kind of mode, as opposed to the relaxation and slothful and lazy mode that we get into later. We're wired to like a little bit of stress, a little bit. So go study a different language, learn a musical instrument, travel to a different country, join a business model that you didn't know you could join, explore, do things. This is how we grow. Physically, push the body, but not drip, drip, drip. Quickly, sprint. 10 minutes in the gym. 10 minutes in the gym. Do it super slowly. When you're doing your abdominals, don't do 100 abdominal crunches. Do 1, do 2. Take you 30 seconds. It'll take you 60 seconds. The body likes quick stresses, quick sharp stresses, and then lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of rest and relaxation. And you know what? You say, well, how do I know? You will know. You will know when it's time to get off the couch. You will know when it's time. You'll feel better when you do something, and that's when it's time. Do you understand how we're plugged in? How this is ours? No doctor here. Have I said one thing that's complicated, scientific, hard to understand, but I gave you more information about healing the body than you've probably got in your entire life. And we haven't even talked about nutrition yet. So you got stress and you got rest. And you got the key nutrient. And we're going to talk about nutrients in a minute here, but this is the key nutrient from a physical perspective, and that's vitamin O, oxygen. See, of all the emergencies to the body, the ultimate emergency is suffocation. The fastest way to activate the sympathetic nervous system is to hold your breath. Anybody get panic attacks? Right before you, well, I can see right there. But right before you get a panic attack, your breathing's worse. You'll notice your breathing's worse. Anybody else get panic attacks? You know anybody gets panic attacks, I'll always tell you, right before the panic attack, their breathing gets worse. What's your name, sir?
Rob.
So if anybody ever wants to experience what Rob experienced when he has a panic attack, try to hold your breath. Because what will happen when you hold your breath is you'll be able to hold it for 60 seconds, maybe 50, 30 for some people, 20 maybe even. But you'll reach a point where you'll have to force yourself to hold your breath. Otherwise, you're just going to, your body, because it's an organism, it's on its own here. You don't have as much control as you think you got over this thing. So when it's time to breathe, it'll breathe. But if you can use your will to supersede that, right before your body breathes, you'll go through a panic attack. You'll experience exactly what Rob experiences. Now, you'll relieve it by breathing, but if you didn't, you would experience exactly what Rob experienced. It's a horrible feeling. That's why they always say suffocation is the worst way to die. Can you imagine a panic attack that doesn't stop? Okay, it's an awful thing, but guess what? We do it all the time, except we do it subtly. We don't do it as bad when we're just holding our breath. We hold our breath a little bit. What message does that send to the body? Over the course of months and years and decades, it says to the body, your survival is threatened. You're not safe. That's what it says to the body. Chronic, it's called hypoxia and anoxia. Hypo meaning less, oxygen meaning meaning oxygen, E of the blood. Hypoxia, low blood oxygen. And hypoxia will immediately induce hypertension, high blood pressure. It'll immediately induce blood clotting, and you have the two major cardiovascular health issues that kill millions of people right there. Over the long course, hypoxia will shut down the immune system, suppress the immune system. Initially, it'll spike the immune system, but long-term chronic hypoxia will slow down the immune system over time. And that leads to cancer. And right there, you've got your two major leading causes of death, and it's something as simple as hypoxia and deep breathing. Cancer hates oxygen, by the way. Hates oxygen. Oxygen is cancer's mortal enemy. In fact, even breathing oxygen in hyperbaric oxygen chambers is an anti-cancer therapy. Who controls our breathing? Is there medicine for that? Do you need a drug? Do you need to go to the insurance company for that? Do you need to line up at the pharmacy for that? Do you need to call all your different doctors at Kaiser Permanente to know about breathing? No. We do it ourselves. And it's the single most powerful way to activate your parasympathetic relaxation nervous system. And breathing is two parts, interestingly enough. It's a and a Anytime you're going, you've activated the sympathetic nervous system, and the inhale activates the stress nervous system. In fact, if you are in hypersympathetic mode, you're taking more than you're giving. You're sucking in more than you're putting out. It's the price you're paying. It's the price we're paying for taking more than we give. Exhalation is giving. Inhalation is taking. Oxygen first of all, oxygen is very explosive stuff, so the body gets very prepared to burn oxygen as soon as you breathe in. When you breathe out, everything relaxes. So it's in the exhale that you relax. So you always want to exhale more than you inhale. In fact, one of the classic signs of sympathetic overload is chronic constipation. Epidemic, by the way, chronic constipation. What do we all do? And I'm going to be a little bit gross here, but we all adults, what do you do when you're on the john and you're trying to evacuate a bowel movement? You go, wrong. Not good. By the way, do you lift weights, bro? You pump an iron? You ever hear the Valsalva maneuver? The Valsalva maneuver is when you're pushing a weight up and you go, ooh, which is exactly what you don't want to do. Because that activates the sympathetic nervous system and it contracts everything. When you're on the john, you want to exhale. I just told you that was worth the price of admission right there, you guys. You can leave now if you didn't get that. All right? Try it. You'll be shocked. You've been holding it in the whole time. I wonder why you can't go. Do you see what you're doing? Do you see? I don't mean to judge anybody, but do you understand here? Okay, this is where understanding just a little bit about our bodies is so darn important. So you want to activate that parasympathetic nervous system wherever possible. And exhalation is how you do it. So when you're in the hot tub, you don't go, you go, you exhale. You put out. You give out. You clear the decks. I always get a kick out of detox formulas. That's the best detoxification there is. In addition to a bowel movement, exhaling is the #1 way to get rid of poisons out of your body. Exhale. Relax. And then we come to the nutrition component, which is absolutely vital to understand. And I say understand with consciousness. I mean that word understand because we're bamboozled at every friggin' turn with this diet and this bad food and this good food and this vitamin and this formula and this mineral and this new mushroom extract that just came out and this new, whatever, brand new melon that only grows off the coast of France that never dies and, whatever. I don't know. Craziness I hear. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to cut to the chase because I'm a pharmacist and this is what pharmacists do. And I need some water. this is what pharmacists do. You know, every year they take a poll on the most trusted profession. And the most trusted profession for a long time, actually, it's now dropped to number 2, probably because drugs aren't exactly, you know, people are, thank you very much. Pharmacy has dropped to number 2 because we're starting to understand the awful, awful nature of the drug business. I was a pharmacist. I graduated. I didn't really told you who I was or any of that stuff, did I? I just went right to it. You know, it's really not about me, and I'm kind of embarrassed sometimes that it gets to be, you know, about me, because I don't want this to be about me. It's really about you. It's about us. It's about humanity. It's about human beings. So I happen to be a pharmacist, and I graduated. I was always troubled in pharmacy school. It never made sense to me because we study poison. Pharmacists study poison. That's largely what we study, the poisonous effects of things, how they poison the body. And as a pharmacy student, I just, you know, I wasn't like a rocket scientist, but it just didn't compute to me. And the more I study, the more I realize that we're not sick, we're starving. We need nutrients more than we need drugs. And I'm seeing this in pharmacy school, and when I graduated. But you make a lot of money as a pharmacist, at least back then. So it's kind of good for a little bit. You know, I wasn't Mother Teresa out there. You know, I mean, I love my fellow man, but I need some money. I hadn't make any money, and I was a very happy guy actually for the first year. And then the second year, you know, I was starting to get a little twinge of consciousness because I noticed the people who are getting the drugs are the sickest of people. They're the ones getting the most drugs, the sickest people, right? And the old people and the babies. And I'm starting to feel really kind of guilty about what I'm doing, so I started recommending nutrition to my patients and probiotics. Kmart didn't like that. I was not like Mr. Popular Pharmacist at Kmart. I was like, you don't need that. Get some vitamin C. I'll make sure you get some probiotics. What are you taking that stuff for? It's going to kill you. You don't want that. Well, one day, Mr. Ozier, pharmacy district manager, called me into the office with the security guard, like I was going to like murder him or something or go postal on him. Whatever. Says, Ben, you're just not cut out to be Kmart material. I swear. He said that, Mr. Ozier, you were right. Is that money? You're just not cut out to... And he was right, and I wasn't. So I just started doing my own thing, and I started talking about nutrition and helping people, and I became the nutritional pharmacist. And what I did was I took... In pharmacy school, we learn to be educators. This is why the pharmacist is typically the most trusted profession, because you always go to the pharmacist guy for the herbs. You don't go to the doctor, you really ask the pharmacist. Traditionally, it's always been the pharmacist. So we have this role, and they promote it in pharmacy school of being teachers, of being educators, of being able to take complex information and simplify it, right? Make it easy to understand. And so we do that with drugs, and we take pride in it as pharmacists. So I started doing it with nutrition. I started simplifying nutrition. I took this vast subject of nutrition and made it easy for us all to understand because it shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't be complicated. We made it complicated because we've created a food empire where we synthesize foods that that didn't exist 200 years ago because they're cheaper and they make more money doing it. And then we sell you a few smatterings of enrichment into the cereals. They'll throw a little B vitamins or a little iron, a little folic acid just to keep you from convulsing on the sidewalk, pretty much. You know, basically, that's basically what it is. And so, and they call it enriched and they call it fortified. So anyway,